Again, welcome. There's a moment she doesn't expect. The moment she realizes you're not waiting anymore. No text, no chase, no noise, just silence. And in that silence, something hits her harder than any argument ever could. You might have actually moved on. And that changes everything. She doesn't see it coming because as long as you were still reacting, still holding on in some way, there was control. But when you stop, when you detach, not out of bitterness, but out of clarity, that's when everything shifts, let's be honest. Some women walk away fully. They've made their decision. No. Looking back, no regrets. But many, even those who appear unbothered, still carry a curiosity. A quiet voice that wonders if you'll chase, if you'll fight, if you'll care, and when it becomes clear that you won't, that you've chosen your peace over the chaos, your path over the past, that voice grows louder, not always with longing, sometimes with confusion, sometimes with ego, but always with impact. You see, moving on isn't just about dating someone new or deleting pictures. Real moving on happens when your energy no longer seeks validation from the past, when you're no longer trying to prove your worth or your point, when you're no longer haunted by what could have been. And when a woman sees this and you really sees, it can shake her why, because whether it ended badly quietly or without closure, there's often an assumption that emotional power remains with the one who walked first or who cared less. And if she believed you were still emotionally tethered, even slightly, then your detachment is a plot twist. It changes the story, she told herself. Maybe she thought you'd spiral, maybe she thought you'd beg, maybe she thought you'd chase forever, but you didn't. And now you've become a mystery again. And mystery, as we know, is magnetic. She might question herself. Was she wrong about how much you cared? Was your love ever real? Did she underestimate your strength? Because make no mistake, emotional detachment is strength, not the cold, bitter kind, but the kind rooted in healing, in boundaries, in a deep sense of self-worth that doesn't require anyone else's permission to move forward. And when she sees that, she may feel a cocktail of emotions, admiration, regret, surprise, even resentment, because your silence is louder than any speech you could have given, and maybe she never thought you'd get there. There's also something unnerving about watching someone heal from the wound you caused, or from the version of yourself you used to be. If she was used to a version of you that was reactive, emotionally available on demand, or even desperate to explain your worth, then the new detached you isn't just different. It's powerful because it's proof that people evolve, that you're not anchored to the identity she created for you, that you've grown. And growth is intimidating, especially when you didn't wait for her to witness it, approve it, or clap for it. It means she no longer holds influence over your emotions. It means her name doesn't echo in your decisions, and that kind of independence, it forces a reckoning with her choices, with the way things ended, with the reality that maybe, just maybe, she lost something valuable. Now, this doesn't mean she wants you back or that you should go running if she reaches out. The point isn't about rekindling, it's about understanding the power of emotional transformation. When you've truly moved on, you no longer seek reactions. You're not playing games. You're not posting things just to be seen. You're not hoping she'll notice you. Honestly, don't care if she does. And ironically, that's often when she notices most. It's a paradox. The less you try to be seen, the more visible you become, because your absence from her world creates a presence in her mind. That's the psychology of detachment. And whether it triggers reflection, regret, or just curiosity, it always leaves a mark, because moving on isn't just a personal victory, it's a disruption to the story. Others wrote about you. It challenges assumptions. It demands respect. It reframes your entire identity in someone else's eyes. And for a woman who thought she had you figured out, that's unsettling, that's powerful, that's transformation in its purest form. She may not say anything. She may never reach out. But the silence that used to feel like control might start to feel like loss. Not because you were perfect, not because you were without fault, but because you were real. And real is rare. especially in a world full of people who never grow beyond their pain, who stay stuck in cycles, who keep performing the same emotional scripts over and over. You broke that script. You evolved, and that kind of growth is unforgettable. Sometimes she'll test it. She might send a text like, "It never ended," like nothing happened, just to see if the door is still open. Not because she wants to walk through it, but because it's hard to accept that it might be closed for good. And that's where your power lives, in not needing to reopen what nearly broke you. In protecting the peace you worked so hard to build, because peace isn't found in someone else's return. It's found in your decision to never return to who you used to be. And that version of you, the grounded, calm, centered man, that's who she feels when she sees you've moved on, not just someone who got over her, but someone who grew past her. That's not something most people forget. That's something that leaves an imprint. Because when a man moves on with quiet confidence, not from spite, not out of pettiness, but from clarity, something about that unsettles people who haven't done the same. It reveals a gap, a distance between where you are and where they still stand. And that distance becomes more than just emotional. It becomes spiritual. It becomes a statement of evolution. She may tell herself stories to soothe the discomfort that you never cared, that you're just pretending that it's all a mask. But deep down, there's a recognition, a knowing that people don't pretend peace. They embody it. And when you walk like you have nothing to prove, when you speak only when necessary, when your joy is no longer conditional on their attention, it's unmistakable, it's authentic. That's why it hits differently, because she knew you. When you were still healing, she saw the cracks, the anger, the hope. And now all of that is gone, not hidden, healed. That's the difference. It's not a cover. It's a transformation, and transformations, real ones, can't be ignored. She might try to mimic your energy, post things, act unbothered, project her own version of moving on. But real recognizes real, and performance always falls short of presence. You're not performing anymore, you're living, and that's what she feels most. Your aliveness without her. And here's the truth, sometimes that feeling inspires others. Not everyone will react with ego or regret. Some women, upon seeing your growth, might feel a deep respect, a quiet gratitude even, because in moving on, you gave them permission to reflect, to evolve, to confront their own patterns. You became a mirror not of what they lost, but of what they could become if they chose the path of self-owners. So never think your healing goes unnoticed. Never assume your peace is invisible. It radiates in ways you can't always see, but others can feel. Especially those who once stood closest to your pain. They feel the shift, the boundary, the elevation. And for a woman who once knew a different version of you, the new version will always carry weight, even if she never admits it. Even if she stays silent, even if she's moved on herself, because we never forget those who healed in front of us. We never forget those who outgrew our version of their story. So keep moving, keep healing, not to be seen, not to provoke a reaction, but because the life you're building without her is the one you were always meant to live, a life where your happiness isn't tied to anyone else's recognition, a life where your peace is protected, a life where your worth is self-defined. And if one day she looks across the distance and feels something, let her. That feeling belongs to her journey, not yours. You've done the work. You've reclaimed your power. And in doing so, you've become unforgettable. That's how she feels when she sees you might have moved on. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more real, relatable advice on navigating the complexities of love and relationships. Remember, relationships take time, care,